Hey, that shit hit different. On 4, I know y'all been waiting on this one. It hit different. Hold on. Gang. Ayy, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, tack the swifty to the Glock, make it spit different. Ayy, bro just beat a murder case, that shit hit different. Ayy, my side bitch another race, that shit hit different. Ayy, I got a Glock, bro, got a Glock, but bitch my shit different. Ayy, I got BBs round my neck and them hoes hit different. Ayy, I cut my baby mama off cause that bitch be trippin'. Ayy, caught him locking at the stody nigga be slippin'. Ayy, got 33 in my 23, Scotty Michael Pippin'. Y'all ass tweaking bitches merch, you know it hit different. It's 200 on my dash, no more whip different. I put my shooters on your ass, it's gon' hit different. No, my boys ain't come to play, they gon' kill away. Try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, when she found out that you rap, that shit hit different. Ayy, when her sister let you clap, that shit hit different. Ayy, think I'm locking, but I'm strapped, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put my city on the map, that shit hit different. Ayy, I'ma fuck a doggy style, cause it hit different. Ayy, screaming free the problem child, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, all my shorties going wild, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, milk the game like a cow, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when your cousin them the ops, you know it hit different. Ayy, when you really on your block, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when you really worth a check, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put the block around my neck because it hit different. Ayy, bitch, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch.
Wow. Holy. So shit, we back again, man. Great news for North Africa. It keeps getting dark for these Afrocentrics, man. We keep getting new paper after new paper. And every paper that has been releasing recently has been hurting the soul of your Afrocentrics. Renuka Rashidi is in the grave, rolling in his grave. Diop is rolling in his grave. Like all these people are rolling in their grave, man. The Sonetta flunkies are upset because none of these recent papers are reflecting any of the ideologies or notions of the past that these guys used to teach and still teach to this day, man. And Reverberate, you had James Small saying some garbage a couple weeks ago on Sonetta Black News 102, Sonetta TV. But we keep getting these papers, man. And I remember being a part of the Black Hebrew Israelite cult, and we used to talk about the Phoenicians and the Punic people and the Septimius Severus having a Punic background. We will bring up and invoke these people's names and invoke the people known as the Phoenicians, the Sea people. We will bring these people up, and we will speak about the Phoenician history and ancestry as if it was an African one, or, you know, more specifically, a sub-Saharan African one. So with no further ado, bro, we got a brand new paper out, 210 samples. 210 samples were analyzed while making this paper. And we've been knowing about the paper. We've been knowing about a few leaks on the samples, but now we officially have it. I went and copped it the first day, dropped the $40 so I can go ahead and read the shit before everybody else. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it, man. Ain't gonna be too long. You know what I'm saying? Check out my debate Sunday. I got a debate. I got a debate Sunday, y'all. I will be debating this man named Yarat Zaka. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to be debating on the origin of Chinese people, or basically our ancient Chinese people, African. It was the title that we agreed upon. So that's going to be fun. I love smacking Afrocentrics upside the head with truth, science, anthropology, archaeology. I love smacking y'all upside the head because at the end of the day, y'all keep trying to Africanize the whole world, and the whole world is not African. Y'all just gonna have to hold that L, man. Peace, peace, man. Peace, yap. Y'all just gonna have to hold that L, bro. So it is what it is. With that being stated, man, let's get right into this, man. Because like I said, y'all gonna have to Dr. Reggie, you gonna have to leave North Africa alone, my man. You're going to have to leave North Africa. Y'all love going to North Africa, and their favorite thing to do, these Afrocentrics love saying, Europeans didn't get there until the Arabs, or they didn't get there until the Romans and Greeks, but we keep getting evidence. We keep getting paper, DNA samples showing that, damn, these fucking Europeans, Eurasians have been in North Africa for a long period of time. We read the paper about Tunisia, Algeria having that European-mediated DNA from Sicily, y'all. And they sell, hunter-gatherers were basically selling to Europe during about 7,000 years ago, going through the Sicily Strait. So, you know, it's over with, man. We taking all fades on this too, man. We ain't ducking no smoke. We taking all fades with all Afrocentrics and Black Hebrew Israelites that's going around teaching garbage, bro. We taking all the fades, man, because it's time that shit die, bro. 2025, no suit alive. Y'all know how we rocking, man. So let's get right into this paper. You know, we read papers here. We comprehend the DNA. We comprehend the up-to-date papers. These other fools can't read, or they struggling at reading, or they're just trying to interpolate, or they're trying to, you know, superimpose their ideology on the field of science and stuff, just allowing the evidence to speak for itself. It's hard for them to do that, man. We're laymen. We're sitting back and we're watching everything from a peripheral view. That's how we do it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all try to pretend like y'all the experts. Allow the papers to speak for themselves, man. Allow the evidence to speak for themselves. Stop trying to put your little spin and shit on it. Yeah, Esau ain't no damn white man. We cooked all that a long time ago. That shit's cooked, bro. Yeah, and they damn sure didn't conquer Europe. So I don't know. Yeah, but that ain't today's topic, bro. Anyway, so let's share my screen here, man. Shout out to the chat. You know, so yeah, here's the quick article on that on nature.com. Ancient DNA reveals Phoenicians' surprising genetic ancestry. Phoenician civilization thrived across the Mediterranean for more than 1,000 years by Edwin Callaway. Not Dane Callaway, not the nutbag that said 98% of African Americans are somehow Native Americans. Not that nutbag. Edwin Callaway, okay? Here's a motif or art piece here, a death mask from the 3rd, 2nd century BC found in the Phoenician trading city of Carthage in what is now Tunisia. An ancient Middle Eastern civilization that developed an early alphabet spread its culture far and wide, but not its DNA, finds a 23rd of April nature study of hundreds of ancient human genomes. Phoenician civilizations emerged more than 3,000 years ago, centered around what is now Lebanon, before expanding across the Mediterranean Sea. The Middle Eastern Phoenician city-states eventually fell to other groups, but the culture thrived farther west, most notably in Carthage and what is now Tunisia, until its destruction in 146 BC. Phoenician city-states shared languages, recorded with an alphabet that was a precursor to Greek and Latin letters, religious practices, and maritime trading economies. Many researchers have presumed that their inhabitants also shared ancestries connected to the culture's Middle Eastern origins. So I'm going to stop right there. So the idea is that these people emanated from the Middle East, so therefore they would have to have these genes that will be seen in the Canaanites, early Levantines, and that's not the case. The paper, we're going to go over the genomes in the paper, but, you know, spoiler, The paper is going to literally say that these people have like Sicilian and Asian-like DNA. Okay. We got King Cadmus. He says, oh, so now y'all know who I am. I used to teach with Great Millstone. I was the head of the Columbus camp. They are great guys, but wrong on something. They wrong on almost everything, King Cadmus. They wrong on everything, man. And I come from a camp too, so I'm familiar with the pseudo language and the pseudo bullshit and ideologies that those guys teach. And that's why I try to do a great job here on the channel, really educating and elucidating ancestry and let y'all know what it is, because a lot of these Afrocentric and Black Hebrew Israelites are obfuscating the whole matter. They got you thinking North Africa was inundated with sub-Saharan Africans. They got you thinking that Egypt was this repository for sub-Saharan Africa. They got you thinking North Africa is everything but a gateway to the Middle East. Like, it's literally connected there. It's literally right there. The Mediterranean world has always been a highway of traffic, human traffic, of people going back and forth. This is why the Maghrebi component, I just want to debate on this, is said to be a back to Africa component. So what we call the autochthonous North African component is actually the result of a back to Africa migration. And this is why most of North Africa resembles their Eurasian counterparts, because they literally diverged from those early populations. They share the same common stock. This is why you got mitochondrial U6 and M1 amongst the ancient samples found in North Africa. And don't get me started in the Tunisia paper. We had R0A. These are Eurasian women, man. We're seeing all these markers. We're seeing T1A1 in Tunisia, in North Africa, 6,000 years ago. So that's letting you know, traffic, people coming in. We already knew about the sheeps and goats, and that their DNA and their genetics show that they were domesticated outside of Africa. We're clearly seeing humans trek in and outside of Africa for thousands of years. And this is what the DNA is showing. And now we got this paper dealing with Phoenicians, Punic history in North Africa, and it's pretty much showing the same damn thing. Literally, we just read a paper last month about Tunisia and these early hunter-gatherers, maybe farmers, selling through the Sicily Strait and starting to inhabit what we now call Tunisia and Algeria, right? So anyway, back to the paper. The idea was that these people would have Levantine or Middle Eastern origins. But again, like I said, the paper is going to explore and pretty much elucidate their ancestry as being more Greek-like or more Southern European-like than Levantine-like. It says, to study this history, population geneticist Harold Ringbauer at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Leipzig, Germany, and his colleagues analyzed DNA from the remains of around 200 people from Phoenician archaeological sites in the Middle East, Europe, and North Africa. The ancestry puzzle to Ringbauer surprised people from Mediterranean outposts of the Phoenician culture, also known as Punic people, share no ancestry with ancient Middle Easterners, even those from sites linked to Phoenicians and their forebears, the Canaanites. But neither did the Punic people's genomes always resemble those of people from the other local populations, such as those in Sardinia and Ibiza. Instead, Punic people shared an ancestry profile resembling those of ancient inhabitants of Greece and Sicily. Over time, North African ancestry entered the mix, reflecting the rise of Carthage after 500 BC. This unique mixture of ancestries is probably the result of a regular influx of diverse people connected by a Mediterranean highway, maintained by trade between Phoenician outposts, says Ringbauer. The study identified related individuals found at distant archaeological sites, including a pair of possible second cousins, one from North Africa and one from Sicily. Again, the only way this could happen is if they were selling back and forth, because how else do they share ancestry that close? Like, now we're talking about direct relatives when you're starting to talk about second cousins. So that just shows that these people have been doing this for thousands of years. Just like I read in the Tunisia paper, you had people with haplogroups that you see that's normally Southern European or European in general or Eurasian in general in North Africa 5,000-6,000 years ago. Same with this paper with the Phoenicians during the time of the Punic era of North Africa. Leptis magna and stuff of that nature. These people are sharing relatives with people living in Sicily and so on and so forth. It says after the fall of Phoenician city-states in the Middle East, people with ancestry from this region might have been cut off from the Mediterranean highway, says Ringbauer. The absence of Middle Eastern ancestry in Punic people doesn't surprise Pierre Salois, a geneticist at Khalifa University in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. The Phoenicians were a culture of integration and assimilation, he says. They settled where they sailed. Ringbauer would like to know why diverse Mediterranean people adopted Phoenician culture instead of sticking to their existing practices. How can there be such a disconnect? He wonders. Does this mean Phoenician culture was like a franchise that others could adopt? That's one of the archaeologists. And that's the end of the article. So we're going to get right into the paper. But again, what this is teaching you guys is this. And I've been saying this for a while. Just because you got shared culture don't mean you got shared ancestry. Okay. African Americans, we share culture with many groups in the Americas. The Americas in general, we share Americana culture, right? European-esque culture. It does not mean everyone has the same mothers and fathers. That's what ultimately we're talking about with ancestry, or direct relatives or most recent common ancestors. Just because someone shares a similar culture, a similar language, rites, rituals, that you can't draw a connection like that. You guys keep trying to circumvent DNA when DNA in the field of genomics is how you trace ancestry. It's not the culture you keep. You need to have the ancestry to cement and stamp who descends from who. Anything else is hogwash point of views, right? And this is what this is showing you. Yes, the Phoenician culture starts in the Middle East, but not every Phoenician or Punic person is of Middle Eastern ancestry. And notice we're not talking about any sub-Saharan Africans. So all these weird, wacky theories about Punic people being somehow interrelated with a large influx of sub-Saharan Africans, that's just wrong, right? That's just incorrect. The data does not support it. So from there, let's get right into it. Let's get right into the meat and potatoes of this. Let's go straight to the paper. All right, so closing some. I got some SS windows here. We're gonna close those. We're gonna go straight to the paper here. And like I said, we do this, man. We do this. Here's the paper here. Like I said, day one, I purchased this, man. But yesterday, y'all already know what it is. This got too busy. It could really get on here and drop the information. But we got it today. So fresh read on this. Punic people were genetically diverse with almost no Levantine ancestors. Again, to stress again, just because someone shares common language, culture, rites and rituals, and a way of life does not mean they share ancestry. We learn these things while we're living. We do not inherit them in the womb. We inherit our genes in the womb, from the sperm and the egg, from our mothers and fathers. Okay? That's where we get our genes from, but our culture, that's something we learn while navigating this world we live in, right? I can use a real quick example of this. Milk 7-4 from 7-4 Hoover, a gang that's notoriously black. It's a black gang, but he's a white man. He got adopted by a black family and grew up in the hood, and now he grew up as a gangbanger, and now he's affiliated with those people, with that set or those or that group. And now he speaks like them. His mannerisms are just like them. So he learned the culture while he was in the world around him. Culture is something that we get as we navigate this world, as we pick up things, we learn things. Okay? It has nothing to do with your genes. So we got to stop doing that shit. Anyway, Punic people were genetically diverse with almost no Levantine ancestors. Again, culture cannot impregnate a woman and create a child. I'm sorry, y'all. This is the supplementary. Here's the paper here. So again, here's the paper. We have Harold Ringbauer et al. And for everybody want to argue and say, no, I don't want to listen or whatever. You want to keep pushing your damn African sub-Saharan African dreamland that doesn't exist in reality. Here you go. I want you to email every single geneticist on this paper and tell them they're wrong. Okay. It says here the maritime Phoenician civilization from the Levant transformed the entire Mediterranean during the first millennium BCE. However, the extent of human movement between the Levantine Phoenician homeland and Phoenician Punic settlements in the central and western Mediterranean has been unclear in the absence of comprehensive ancient DNA studies. Here we generated genome-wide data for 210 individuals, including 196 from 14 sites traditionally identified as Phoenician and Punic in the Levant, North Africa, Iberia, Sicily, Sardinia, and Ibiza, and an early Iron Age individual from Algeria. Levantine Phoenicians made little genetic contribution to Punic settlements in the central and western Mediterranean between the 6th and 2nd centuries BCE, despite abundant archaeological evidence of cultural, historical, linguistic, and religious links. So the same religion, same cultural ties, same historical, and same languages, but there's no strong genetic connection between these people because, again, there's something called acculturation. In acculturation, you learn culture while you're living. You don't inherit it in the womb. No one got impregnated by culture. It said instead, these inheritors of Levantine Phoenician culture derive most of their ancestry from a genetic profile similar to that of Sicily and the Aegean. Much of the remaining ancestry originated from North Africa, reflecting the growing influence of Carthage. However, this was a minority contributor of ancestry in all the sample sites, including in Carthage itself. So what's the minority contributor? The North African signals, which is the Maghrebi component, right? That is the minority. The majority of it's Sicilian and Aegean. And y'all keep saying they didn't get there until the Greeks and the Romans. Here's another damn paper smacking you upside the head, showing you that this is not true. They've been there. It says different Punic sites across the central and western Mediterranean show similar patterns of high genetic diversity. We also detect genetic relationships across the Mediterranean, reflecting shared demographic processes that shape the Punic world. Canaanite Phoenician culture emerged in the city-states of the Bronze Age Levant. In the early first millennium BCE, Phoenicians established a vast network of trading posts as far as southwest Iberia, spreading their culture, religion, and language to central and western Mediterranean. By the mid-6th century BCE, Carthage, a Phoenician coastal colony in present-day Tunisia, emerged as a dominant power in the central and western Mediterranean, while the influence of Levantine cities declined as they fell under Neo-Assyrian and Neo-Babylonian control. Carthage came into a large-scale violent conflicts with Greeks in the 5th to 4th centuries BCE and with Rome in the 3rd to 2nd century BCE, culminating in its destruction in 146 BCE and the annexation by the Roman Republic. And the irony, it was just the cousins were fighting each other because, again, Romans and Greeks, they share a profile with these people. So, you know, the cousins were beefing with each other, man. They were game banging on each other. And I know it's probably somebody in the chat talking about, no, you're wrong. These people in Carthage were all pitch black, and they were crunchy black, and they were sub-Saharan Africans. And Hannibal was this and that and the third. We heard all of the damn stories and exaggerations. We don't need it anymore. We got scientific evidence. Anyway, let's see. Let's continue to read. It says here, many historians and archaeologists use the Roman term Punic to refer to culturally Phoenician communities in the central and western Mediterranean that were associated with or even ruled by Carthage after the mid-6th century BCE. While problems of such a simplifying label have been highlighted, we follow the recent handbook of the Phoenician Punic Mediterranean and use Punic to refer to sites in the central and western Mediterranean associated with material culture with Phoenician antecedents or connotations between the late 6th and 2nd centuries BCE, a time frame for the Carthaginian hegemony in this region. We also use the term to refer to people buried at these sites. However, we caution that by labeling sites and people as Punic, we do not make any claim of a homogeneous culture or ethnicity. Moreover, our distinction between Phoenician and Punic sites does not question the Levantine cultural origins of their inhabitants, nor does it address the question of whether the founders of the Phoenician Punic sites, such as Carthage and Cadiz, were Levantine. We do not have the early samples from these sites needed to address these issues. We use Punic in the paper simply as means to refer to a group of sites and their inhabitants as defined above, for which our analysis finds shared genetic signatures. Ancient DNA reveals information regarding genetic ancestry, which can help resolve questions beyond the reach of conventional historical and archaeological data. And so I keep telling y'all got to meet at the crossroads of DNA. You cannot figure shit out solely with like stones, culture, language. None of that stuff's going to help you. Again, DNA is going to come from your mothers and your fathers. This is that simple. That's the only way you can inherit it. No one can Wi-Fi it. Nobody can Dropbox it to you. You can't download it, right? You got to inherit it from your parents. So tough titty. It says previous ancient DNA studies of Punic remains focused on the mitochondrial DNA, revealing diverse maternal lineages. However, as mtDNA traces only a single lineage, those analyses provide limited statistical resolution compared with genome-wide data. This is something also is pointed out with the ancient Egyptians. Now we're getting more samples with more of a nuclear genome, from a nuclear genome perspective, which reflects on the population. So if majority of it's non-African, then that's saying that population during that time had to be non-African. See, this is why y'all don't want to actually grasp this and get an understanding of it, because it hurts your feelings of what North Africa actually is. You want North Africa to be a repository of sub-Saharan African ancestry, and it just isn't. There's no evidence for this. Everything's pointing to non-Africans. Every phase of this. It's like every time we get a new paper, we're talking today about the Punic sites and the Punic people and the Phoenicians, and we're clearly seeing they're non-African, right? And you have to look at their whole genome sequencing, because again, that reflects on the populations. Anyway, a whole genome analysis of 5 Bronze Age individuals from Sidon and 12 Iron Age individuals from Beirut indicates that the Phoenicians of Levant were genetically similar to local Bronze Age Canaanite people. However, mitochondrial genome from Carthage and a whole genome data from 12 individuals from the nearby rural Punic site of Kirkwan shows substantial South European ancestry as well as indigenous North African ancestry. Partial North African ancestry was also found in genome-wide data from 8 individuals from 2 Punic sites in Sardinia, combined with a broad Eastern Mediterranean ancestry. Together with the analysis of the whole genome sequence of an individual from Ibiza, which was also interpreted to harbor Eastern Mediterranean ancestry, this suggested that Punic people had complex ancestry. However, these observations were based on analyzing genome-wide data from a combined total of 21 individuals and did not include the key regions of Iberia or Sicily or settlements with early Phoenician foundations such as Carthage, Motia, or Cadiz. Owing to the small sample size and complex combination of ancestries, it has not been possible to study ancestry across Punic sites systematically. Data set assembly. It says we screened human skeletal remains from 398 individuals excavated from 14 sites in Sardinia, Sicily, North Africa, and the Levant using in-solution enrichment for more than 1.2 single nucleotide polymorphisms, or SNPs. In the mitochondrial genome, sample sites cover diverse cultural, temporal, and geographical contexts. They include the Levantine Phoenician settlement of Akziv, large urban settlements from probable Levantine foundations such as Cadiz, Motia, and Carthage, and sites with evident cultural ties to Carthage such as Villaricos or the rural settlement of Kirkwan. We published results of 210 unique individuals that produced genome-wide data that met minimal standards for ancient DNA authenticity, of which 196 came from Phoenician and Punic contexts. We carried out population genetic analysis on a subset of 157 individuals with sufficient data as described below. We generated 111 direct accelerator mass spectrometry based dates on bones for 99 of the individuals. These radiocarbon dates were crucial to confirming archaeological context, as several sample Punic sites were occupied in later periods, and because excavation for a subset of analyzed samples predate the establishment of modern archaeological methods, in some cases more than a century ago. Owing to fluctuations in the proportion of atmospheric carbon-14 in the period of interest, we could typically assign samples only to the around 800 to 400 BCE, the Hallstatt Plateau and the calibration curve used for radiocarbon dating, or the 400 to 200 BCE. Nevertheless, this enables us to distinguish within Punic sites between people living during the earlier stages of the Carthaginian expansion before 400 BCE, people living after this time but still in Punic context, and people plausibly living after the transition to Roman control around 250 to 150 BCE. A notable limitation of our sampling is the absence of sampled individuals who predate 600 BCE based on archaeological dating of the tombs, because cremation was a dominant form of burial in Phoenician settlements in the central and western Mediterranean before this time. We filtered two individuals with higher quality data and with verified archaeological context, yielding 157 individuals for whom we performed population genetic analysis. Within this data set, we identified 131 individuals deriving from a Phoenician or Punic context, out of which 108 had a firm archaeological context, indicating that they can confidently be classified as Phoenician or Punic. We added previously published sequences for 20 individuals confidently classified as Phoenician or Punic, 7 from Sardinian sites, 1 from Ibiza, and 12 from Beirut, yielding the data set 128 higher quality individuals confidently classified as Phoenician or Punic. A recent study reported whole genome shotgun sequencing data for 12 individuals from North African site of Kirkwan. Oh, and sidebar, we did find an R1b V88 sample in Kirkwan. It's not the same as what we find in Chad, but we do see V88 there nonetheless. It says we use in solution enrichment, which enabled us to convert samples with low proportions and endogenous DNA to analyze data to generate data for 17 new individuals from Kirkwan and additional data for 10 individuals with previously reported data. We analyzed the data that we generated with data from previously reported ancient individuals from other relevant times and regions, as well as 26 newly sequenced individuals from relevant contexts, which are not Phoenician or Punic. Among these early Iron Age individuals from the inland northeast Algerian site, Kinchela, who we use in our model of North African ancestry, 20 individuals from originally Punic sites in Sicily, Sardinia, and Iberia, whose radiocarbon dates placed them within the period of Roman hegemony. Genetic ancestry and admixture modeling. To examine the genetic variation in our newly reported data, we project the whole genomes for the ancient individuals onto the first two principal components computed from 1,196 present-day West Eurasian and North African individuals. For context, we also projected Bronze and Iron Age individuals from relevant archaeological cultures across the Mediterranean, who broadly cluster on the basis of their geographical distribution. We find that individuals from the Levantine Phoenician site of Akziv in present-day Israel cluster together with previously published Bronze Age and Iron Age Levantine individuals, including from Megiddo in present-day Israel and the Phoenician cities of Sidon and Beirut in present-day Lebanon. So, real quick, I'm going to sidebar on this. For all you Black Hebrew Israelites that are watching, again, another site has been dug up in Israel, and none of it reflects sub-Saharan African ancestry. Y'all know I got to give my shots to y'all when I can. There's a couple Winchesters and the pistol at all times, and I'm waiting to blow you niggas down because y'all got these crazy-ass beliefs. But every time these archaeologists, these paleontologists dig over there and they discover Phoenicians, Punics, Canaanites, and even actual Israelites from the Israelite culture, none of it reflects sub-Saharan African DNA. Zero, zilch, nada. We haven't seen it. None of it. Majority of it is non-African. So what are you talking about? Anyway, let me blow this up a little bit. I know, well, I'm already 250%. All right, 300%. Let's see. It says, by contrast, individuals from Punic sites in the central and western Mediterranean do not cluster with Levantine individuals. Instead, they are broadly distributed with a primary mode overlapping Bronze and Iron Age individuals from Sicily and the Aegean, which is basically the Aegean Sea surrounding Greece, regardless of the sample location. So again, these Punic people, these Phoenicians in North Africa, largely owe their ancestry to Sicilians and Greeks. I mentioned this in my debate Sunday, by the way, right? I mentioned the same thing because my opponent kept bringing, oh, these Phoenicians are African or what? Man, their primary ancestry is Sicilian and Greek. Come on, man. It said, in addition to this cluster, a narrow line of individuals points from this mode towards Northwest African individuals, including pre-contact Guanche individuals from the Canary Islands, and a newly sequenced early Iron Age individual for Kinchela, inland Algeria. This suggests that the Phoenician people of Oxiv derived most of their ancestry from previous populations in the Levant, while the people from the Punic sites in the central and western Mediterranean shared recent common ancestry with populations from Sicily and the Aegean, with additional recent admixture with North African populations. Other methods that are useful for learning about the population mixture confirm the main hypothesis suggested by the principal component analysis. Again, PCAs show you how people are groups of populations relate with each other. They put all the samples within the PCA, and these Punic people from North Africa pretty much clustered with what we call Sicilians and Greek samples. Okay, so that means they share ancestry. The only way you can cluster with somebody is for you to share segments of DNA. The only way you can share segments of DNA if you share the same parents. It's just that simple. You got to share some foremother or forefather somewhere down the line, maybe on your mother's side, your father's side. Somewhere down the line, y'all share some ancestry. It's the only way you can inherit it. It says other methods that are useful for learning about population mixture methods confirm the main hypothesis suggested by the principal component analysis. Using admixture, we inferred a three-component model with clusters maximizing North Africans, Eastern populations, Levant, Iran, and Central and Western Mediterranean groups. Individuals from Oxiv exhibit similar ancestry to those of Bronze Age individuals from Levant. By contrast, individuals from Punic sites are assigned clusters more typical Bronze and Iron Age populations from Central and West Mediterranean and North Africa. To carry out formal tests to fit for alternative models and to quantify ancestry proportions on the fitting models, we use QP-ATOM with 78 ancient individuals from 8 different genetically homogeneous groups as proxies for the ancestry sources. While multiple ancestry models can fit most individuals, several robust observations emerged. First, all individuals from Phoenician site Oxiv derive more than 80% of their ancestry from a Levantine Bronze Age population. So all you whacks and you quacks out there that want to say Phoenicians are somehow African, again, there you go. There's your answer. 80% of their ancestry comes from Levantine Bronze Age population. And then some of y'all even go with this ham. We were talking about this on the phone earlier, this crazy ass ideology that these people are what you call ham, and Hamites represent Africans. How so? How are these Phoenicians Africans when the majority of their DNA is non-African? Which shows you that what the Bible is referring to as Ham is clearly non-African, because these places that these people derive their ancestry from, like Iran, Iraq, the Lesser Caucasus, Anatolia, all of these places are clearly non-African in the archaeology, in the geography, of course, and the genetics. It's clearly non-African. So I just had, everybody getting shot. Everybody getting shot. There's a Winchester and a box of bullets for all you Suds out there. It says right here, by contrast, only 3 individuals from Punic sites were assigned substantial Levantine ancestry. 2 from Sicily, whose radiocarbon dates overlap with the period of the Roman control in Sicily, and 1 from Sardinia, all of whom clustered in the PCA were Levantine individuals. The primary source of ancestry in most Punic individuals is best proxy in our analysis using Bronze Age individuals from Sicily and Greece. In every region, including North Africa, in every time period, some Punic individuals derive nearly all their ancestry from this source. So most of these Punic people that y'all love bringing up, the Punics, these was Africans, Yashu, these Phoenicians, man. No, dude. Hannibal Barca, he was clearly an African. Look at the Negro coins from the time of Carthage. No, 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 no. Majority of these people were Sicilian and Greece. Oh, well, what about the depictions of these people riding on elephants? I don't give a damn about no goddamn depiction. Their DNA comes from Sicilian and Greece. I don't care what they look like. Because there are some dark-skinned Sicilians. There's some dark-skinned Tunisians. Who cares? Who gives a damn? What is their ancestry showing you? They're connected to Sicilians. They can be dark as hell. They can be light as hell. The point is, they share ancestry with people from Sicily and Greece. That's it. All your little fantasy stories about black people riding on elephants and, oh, we got a great... Bro, go study. Like, come on, man. Don't get me started. Most of you niggas European anyway. Y'all got European DNA anyway. You should be happy this showed up because y'all always talking about some venerating the goddamn ancestors. Some of y'all watching this fucking video got Greek ancestry. The hell? Italian ancestry and shit. Northwest European and East European, Central, all that shit. So why is it a big deal if it's about venerating the ancestors? Ashe head ass niggas. Now you tell me. That's why half of y'all scared to take y'all DNA test because you want to find out about them European ancestors. But I digress. It says here, however, our analysis could not more precisely identify the geographical origin of this source as it could not confidently distinguish between Bronze Age Sicilian and Asian sources, which had one subtle ancestry difference from each other. So basically, these Bronze Age Sicilian and Asian or Greek sources from that time look the same. Layman's terms, they look similar, so it's kind of hard to distinguish them from each other. So the best hypothesis, the most parsimonious thing you could say is they have both, right? Just mention both. Let's go up real quick before we continue to read here. So here's a PCA here. And you can see your Phoenicians and Punic people, and they cluster in between here. They cluster between Levantine people, Iberian people, Asian people, and Central Europeans. Some of them are actually on the Central European side here. As you can see, the Sardinian samples cluster with Central Europeans. Some of the Iberian samples, of course, being in Iberia, they're going to be, copulating with the women there, having sex with the women there, mixing and having children that's going to share Iberian-like ancestry. So it makes sense to have these people cluster over here, and you see even more of these Punic people clustering. Then the North African variants are all clustered together, and they're somewhat in the middle, and some of them do cluster with West African groups. As you guys can see on the screen, here's the sites here: Daros, Viamar, Monte Sierra, and I believe this is all Sardinia. Then when you look here, the Motya, the Bergi, Libayum, Silanute, and Palermo. Shout out to Palermo. I know you're probably watching, bro. Again, for Sicily. And look how close this is. We talked about this last time in the Tunisian paper. Look how close this is. You can island hop with a few crewed ships or crewed boats. You don't need much as far as maritime technology to get from Sicily to Tunisia. And as we talked about before, after Youngest Dryas and stuff of that nature, there may have been more land accessible. So you could walk some of these regions that are now underwater. During glaciation periods, most of the water is encapsulated in ice, right? So the sea levels drop. So a lot of these shelf areas that we call that surround these islands would have been walkable land. So that would have lessened the amount of sea travel or seafaring that you would have to do to get from a place like Sardinia to Tunisia. And there's the Beirut and Akziv samples there. All you Black Hebrew Israelites, why none of this DNA reflecting any sub-Saharan African DNA? In order for your shit to be true, that has to come up at some point. We haven't found it yet. So here's this here about the admixture of these groups. And this is from 900 BC to 360 BC. And Kirkwine, I believe this is what Kirkwine's in Carthage, right? And look at this individual. Look at this. The blue component is the Greece and Sicilian component. Majority of them, man. Majority of them have this blue component and a high cliff. High cliff. And you see this line right here where it says related? That's because this sample, like we read earlier, is second cousins to this person that lives in Sicily. That lets you know that the families or these migrants were going back and forth from Sicily to Tunisia. Is how the hell they're going to get? How they're going to have such a close relation? How? How are you going to have such a close relation where you're second cousins with somebody? It's because they were traveling back and forth. That's why. So all you Afrocentrics, Afro-tarded motherfuckers out there say, "Oh no, North Africa didn't get Europeanized until the Romans and Greeks and the Arabs and all this other bullshit." That's clearly been refuted, not debunked. Refuted. There's a difference in a refutation and debunking. Refutation is pretty much it's getting thrown out the window. Debunk is you just make an argument against something. Anyway, from 400 to 50 BC, according to the color code here, the Carthaginians still have a large, what we call Greece and Sicilian component. Most of these Carthaginians had this component. And this is around that period of time where a lot of you pseudos love to bring up Hannibal Barca. Oh, Hannibal Barca, he was a Negro emperor and all this other shit, right? I love bringing him up. Oh, these black people were riding on elephants. They may have been dark-skinned people there. No one is disputing that. But best to believe that the main ancestry in these regions was Sicilian and Greek. These were Europeans, bro. Hey, y'all got to give it up. Majority of their genome was pointing to that. Look, they even got steppe, Bronze Age component, Iberian Sardinian, which is the green component. They even got some Iranian components, right? Iranian ancestry amongst them. And then the North African, which is the Maghrebi component, right? But the primary component is the Greek and Sicilian component, as we can see. And I mean, it's similar with all the rest of the samples here. Tharos, you expect to see that in a Sicilian society. You expect to see most of it being the blue component, which is Greek and Sicilian, right? So let's go down. The second most common ancestry source in Punic sites is consistent with deriving from indigenous North Africans, defined as a population that is genetically similar to early Iron Age individuals from inland northeast Algeria. North African ancestry appears as early as the 6th and 5th century BCE, a substantial subset of the individuals from Kirkwine, and sporadically in low fractions at Sicilian sites, and not at all in sampled Iberian and Sardinian individuals before the 4th century BCE. The rise of North African ancestry after 400 BCE outside of North Africa is particularly marked in Tharos, Sardinia. Although indigenous North African ancestry was widespread after 400 BCE in the Punic world, it remained a minority ancestry component below 50%. And all individuals except for 3 from Kirkwine, 2 from Villaricos, and 1 from Tharos, even in North Africa. 10 out of the 27 individuals from Kirkwine and 5 out of the 17 individuals from Carthage can be modeled with no indigenous North African ancestry. And 84% of individuals from these sites have more than 50% Sicilian and Asian ancestry. Whoop, there it is. Whoop, that is. These people are Greeks. These people are Sicilian. Their ancestry reflects that, man. And I'm waiting on one of you Afro-tards out there. I'll wait for one of y'all to try to debate this, because you're just gonna get smoked. Easy. You're just gonna get smoked. Yeah, that's it. You're gonna get killed on the matter, bro. It's just that simple. Let me raise my mic up a little bit. Just that simple, man. Anyway, it says, let me read this last part so I can just dry the knife in and twist it. 84% of individuals from these sites have more than 50% Sicilian Asian ancestry, making it the dominant ancestry component also in North African Punic sites. Many individuals in Punic sites in Sicily and North Africa had substantial proportions of ancestry consistent with that observed in earlier people from the same geographical regions. By contrast, we do not observe evidence of important genetic contribution of Bronze Age people of Sardinia and Iberia to individuals in nearby Punic sites, either in clustering analysis or in formal modeling analysis. Only 2 Iberian individuals from Ibiza and Cadiz had confidently high proportions of Bronze Age Iberian ancestry. Instead, Punic sites in the Western Mediterranean share similar ancestry distribution of predominantly Sicilian, Asian, or North African origin. Genetic heterogeneity and connectedness. 5 lines of population genetic analysis revealed that individuals in Punic sites were part of a genetically heterogeneous and interconnected Mediterranean population. Notice it doesn't say anything about your little fantasy sub-Saharan Africa, North Africa that doesn't exist. It doesn't say that. They said these people are interconnected Mediterranean population. It says, first, we observe a substantially higher Y haplogroup diversity per archaeological site compared with earlier people. In each sample Punic site, most males have differing Y haplogroups. Overall, no single lineage dominates the sample across sites, including most commonly E1b, which is 14 out of 58 individuals, R1b, 10 out of the 58, J2a, 8 out of the 58, G2a, 7 out of 58, and J1a, 5 out of the 58. The high Y chromosome diversity is notable in light of the previous proposal of J2 as a footprint of Phoenician demographic expansions and their genetic legacy today. We observed J2 haplogroups in only 20% of the Punic male individuals, and at a similar low frequency in Levante male individuals from the Bronze Age and Iron Age, and at even higher frequencies in the Bronze Age, Aegean, and Minoan populations, G2A, and Bronze and Iron Age Balkan populations, G2B. This signal challenges the hypothesis that J2 is a haplogroup specifically diagnostic for Phoenician expansions from the Levant. Instead, the high Y chromosome diversity suggests that no single Y haplogroup can serve as an effective marker for Phoenician expansion. But again, we can look at these haplogroups, G2A, non-African, J2A, J1A, R1B, all these are non-African variants. Even the E1B1 B variants are non-African. So yeah, do with that. As you wish, whatever. Anyway, second, we observe high heterogeneity and genome-wide ancestry. The genetic variation in most Punic sites is measured by the diversity of the position in the PCA methods. It's higher than in earlier sample sites from all across the Mediterranean since the 5th millennium BCE. While varying in North African ancestry is primary driver of high diversity we observe in the Punic sites, while haplogroup diversity levels in several sites remain higher than in earlier populations, even when this specific contribution is factored out. Third, our genetic data document that the individual ancestry variation was high within Punic sites, but this variation was overall similar between different regions, namely Sardinia, Iberia, Sicily, and North Africa. The most parsimonious explanation for this overlap is that populations in different Punic sites drew from the same or very similar ancestry sources and had a high degree of interconnectedness. Again, this word parsimonious means what fits the evidence the best. What explanation fits the evidence the best? So when you see this word being used in scientific literature, that's what it means. Basically, all of these populations drew from similar groups of people, which makes them interconnected, right? It says, as it is unlikely that such a similar pattern of ancestry variations across individuals will be observed in the geographically distinct regions with differing local ancestries unless they shared a common ancestral source. Fourth, we find evidence for mixing of people with different genetic backgrounds within extended pedigrees. We use long genomic segments that are identical by descent among pairs of individuals to screen for biologically related individuals. In particular, multiple shared long IBD segments indicate biological relatives up to the 5th to 7th degree, and we could use this to infer a pedigree of 5 individuals from Kirkwan and a pedigree of 3 individuals from Tharos. Both pedigrees revealed extended families that integrated individuals with diverse ancestry, showing that ancestry mixing was ongoing in some Punic populations. Fifth, we document multiple pairs of genealogical relatives separated by the Mediterranean Sea. Again, the only way you can have relatives separated by a body of water means you've been on both sides of that water, right? Both sides of that Mediterranean. You got ancestors in Sicily, Tharo, Sardinia. Then in North Africa, hey, your folks have been back and forth. That's what that's telling you. Which reminds me of all you Abos, you keep claiming that Africans sailed over here, or you Diopites. You keep claiming this shit. Just show the DNA. Oh, you can't because it doesn't exist. But we can show the DNA with Europeans going in and out of North Africa before the time of the Romans, before the time of the Greeks. We see it with these people known as Phoenicians or Punics. We identified 31 pairs of individuals who share the IBD segment of length greater than 16 centimorgans, which indicates shared ancestry probably within the last 20 generations. Most pairs, 21 out of 31, are from within the same site or adjacent sites such as Bergi and Motya. But 10 pairs of individuals were from more distantly separated sites. Some of these pairs of individuals come within the same geographical regions, such as Malaga, Villaricos, or Biergi, Salanute. However, in 6 cases, we find IBD sharing across the Mediterranean between an individual from Biergi or Bergi or Motya in Sicily and an individual from Kirkwall or Carthage in North Africa or Malaga, Iberia. This IBD sharing indicates a high enough rate of maritime mobility between Punic communities such that we could observe it multiple times in our data set. So again, they've seen relatives all around Sardinia and Sicily and in North Africa, showing that these people are interconnected. They were going around having sex, having children. Oh, my uncle went to Kirkwan and had a baby, and then that baby grew up and went to Sicily and had a baby, and so on and so forth. We can see it in their genes that these people are closely related. It said this is particularly notable because the Mediterranean Sea is a geographical barrier that maintains high levels of genetic differentiation between populations in Sicily and North Africa. And here's an example here, and those are the chromosomes on which they share that ancestry, chromosome 9, 17, and 1. As you can see, you had an individual in Kirkwall dated around 515 to 392 BCE, and an individual in Sicily, 768 to 544 BCE, and they share relation. It says before Punic expansions, also in modern groups, one individual from Bergi and one individual from Kirkwall shared 3 long IBD segments, implying that they were 5th to 7th degree relatives, such as 2nd to 3rd degree cousins. Thus, these individuals or their immediate ancestors traveled at least once between North Africa and Sicily, making this relative pair a concrete case of population interconnectedness. Let's see. This is going to put you all to sleep, or is this worth reading? All right, I'll skip that. Let's go to the discussion. Previous analysis of an ancient DNA from Ibiza and Sardinia hypothesized a substantial proportion of Eastern Mediterranean ancestry in people buried at Punic sites. While a study of Punic people from Kirkwall in North Africa did not find evidence of Levantine ancestry, it could not make a more general statement because it was limited to a single site. Our analysis of a sample size and order of magnitude larger and from 5 times more Punic sites rules out substantial Levantine ancestry in all 21 previously published genomes and more than 80 newly sequenced individuals, including from prominent urban sites with evidence of Canaanite Phoenician cultures such as Carthage, Motya, and Cadiz. Our diverse sample also enables us to trace the expansion of North African ancestry in Punic sites beyond case samples of previous studies, showing how after 400 BCE, North African ancestry spread to Sardinia and Iberia, and suggesting that Spanish Carthaginian influence facilitated this spread. Our results suggest that the Punic demographic expansion was primarily driven by the spread of people with Aegean-like ancestry, not sub-Saharan African ancestry, all you Hannibal Barca people, all you Rudolph Windsor readers out there and your Diops out there and Obanga, these people were not that. These people were clearly drawing most of their ancestry from Greek and Sicilian peoples, ancient Greek and Sicilians. So we concluded this because the dominant ancestry observed in our Punic data set matches the ancestry observed in Bronze Age, Aegean, and Sicilian populations, and Bronze and Iron Age Sicilians in turn derived a large proportion of their ancestry from Aegean populations due to expansions in the Middle Late Bronze Age and Iron Age. The approximate origin of Sicilian Aegean ancestry and Punic people is difficult to resolve due to low differentiation between Bronze Age Sicilian and Aegean populations, and due to sparse ancient DNA sampling of Bronze Age, Iron Age, Eastern Mediterranean, particularly on the coast of Asia Minor and Cyprus. One possibility is that the Aegean-like ancestry originated from early interactions of Phoenicians in Sicily with indigenous Sicilian population harboring such ancestry derived from earlier Bronze Age gene flow. Another possible source could be the interaction between Punic people and Greek colonies established in the central Mediterranean and eastern North Africa, Cyrenaica, since the 8th century BCE. The proximity of Phoenician Punic settlements in Sicily to some of these Greek colonies, such as Himera, Selinute, would have provided further opportunities for gene flow. A critical question raised by our results is how and when Canaanite Phoenician culture and language were adopted by people without any detectable Levantine ancestry. One hypothesis is that after Levantine Phoenicians founded settlements in central and western Mediterranean in the early first millennium BCE, these communities continuously incorporated people with Sicilian Asian ancestry. As a result, most individuals living in these Punic settlements in the 6th century BCE or later would not have detectable levels of Levantine ancestry. Cremation, a dominant funerary practice among Phoenician communities in the central and western Mediterranean before the 6th century BCE, makes obtaining viable samples of the ancient DNA sequencing difficult, and we consequently do not have the data from this period. The shift from cremation to inhumation as the preferred burial practice in the mid to late 6th century BCE is nevertheless also a cultural transition that could reflect substantial numbers of new people integrating into these communities. Finally, so again, just to recapitulate on this, these people are not a extrapolation of Levantine people. More so, these people were absorbed into this cultural, the cultural rites and rituals and languages of the Phoenicians. They just adopted it. That's all. Just like Native Americans, they had abundance of languages. Now, most of them speak, the descendants of the Native Americans speak a American English dialect, right? Same thing with these Phoenicians, with these Punic people in North Africa. Originally, there are more Greek and Sicilian people. They probably had a different language. And then the dominant culture became the Phoenician culture amongst them, and they absorbed and adopted it. More reason why you just can't use things that are superficial like culture to determine where one's ancestry may go back to, right? Reading on, it says, finally, the long-term demographic impact of the ancestry that we have documented here remains to be clarified. Our data for Roman era individuals from Sicily suggest that ancestry patterns shifted toward the Eastern Mediterranean as previously observed elsewhere in the Roman Mediterranean. Still, they only partially replaced the ancestry profile from the Punic period in Sicily. Studies that analyze Roman, Byzantine, and early medieval material from Sicily, North Africa, Iberia, and Sardinia, carried out in close collaboration between geneticists, archaeologists, and historians, are critical to the understanding these transitions that lastingly shaped the Mediterranean. So hopefully y'all learned something from this paper, man. Stay away from fucking Afrocentrics. They poisoned the well. You know, all of the shit they taught is being refuted thoroughly by new genetic papers. This idea that these Punic people were somehow these Africans that, you know, colonized and introduced all these things, and the Garamantes from Carthage were all these somehow wonderful Africans that did all these things. These things are myths. These are modern myths. It's not based and rooted in science. It's not based and rooted in ancestry. If you want to know someone's ancestry, you got to look at the DNA. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. And as a bonus segment of this paper, what we're going to do is we're going to go to family tree DNA. And I got in the supplemental, I have the haplogroups of each individual. And I'm not going to do all of them, of course. There's a lot of individuals, but I'm going to do some that stood out. I'm going to do some E1B1B variants. And I'm going to show you how varied the ancestry of these people are. Right. So let me pull that up real quick, and I'm gonna showcase that to you guys. Then I'm gonna close out, man. It's 9:30. You know, I'm an old man. I'm busy. I need my sleep. You know what I'm saying? I know some of y'all stay up all night, rip and run with the best of them, right? I'm not one of those. You know what I'm saying? Y'all be tripping. So let me just find all of my haplogroups here. And we're going to open up a family tree DNA page. And we're going to start tracking some of these haplogroups and just see some of the demography, the migrations of these people, where they come from. Like I said, bro, we're taking this. We're really taking the soul out of a lot of these arguments, bro. We taking the soul out of a lot of these arguments. And I'd be damned if I thought I left it on the damn on the tab. I guess I didn't. Y'all. But there's a couple clades here. Like we read earlier, some G2As, some R1Bs, some J markers, and some E1B1Bs. I really would like to go to the E1B1Bs because, you know, I just debated somebody, demolished them, beat them up pretty bad on ancient Egypt, and he just kept bringing up E1B1B. I'm like, bro, you have to know that the E1B1B has downstream clades, and each variant could, have its origin somewhere else. You don't know where that origin could be unless you look it up. And a lot of these E1B1Bs are Mediterranean. They're Turkey. I've seen some having their origin in what we call Arabia, continental Europe. Come on, man. That's where they're projecting these ancestors to go back to. And that's what you're calling African. That's African, Yashu. That's African. What do you mean? What do you mean, read? What do you mean, not oversimplify shit? What do you mean? Yeah, man, they use all these damn fallacies. All right, so we got some mitochondrial DNA. Is this the one with the Y haplogroup? Y'all bear with me, man. I'm going to find this. I had this open last night, man, before I crashed. Also got damn tired last night. It was crazy. All right, so new genomes. Boom, found it right here. Whoop, that is. Whoop, that is. All right, so cool. So we got these haplogroups, right? And then, so we got Sicily. Let's look at some of the Tunisian ones. I'm not sharing my stream, but, just to give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at. Let me just pull this up. So a lot of these papers have supplemental information that you can download, right? So I downloaded the supplemental information, and within this, you can pull up all the haplogroup information here. So here's some samples from Southern Israel. I had Kirkwan in Tunisia. Let's light this one up. It's a female H5. Kirkwan, Tunisia. Look at that one. EY6720. EY6720. So what we're going to do is we're going to type this into family tree. Damn, y'all can't see that, huh? That's how do I increase the how do I make that bigger? Right here. No, it didn't do it. All right, y'all gonna have to bear with it because I don't. Let's see, sort filter, blah blah blah. Yeah, I can't increase the font right now. I'll figure it out and then I'll fix that in a future video. With that being stated, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that sample and we're gonna stick it into family tree DNA. So we're gonna copy that like that. Boom, EY6720. Let me open up my family tree DNA, my handy dandy. And we're gonna refresh. Sign in, of course. And there we go. We're gonna type this. As you guys can see, this is how we look this stuff up, right? Let me close this real quick. We've already read the paper. We already broke a lot of hearts, right? Let's break the hearts even more. So again, this is from the North African Tunisia site, Kirkwan, which is related to the Punics or Phoenicians. All right, so y'all see the sample in the bar right here. Family tree DNA discovery, EY6720. All right, now we're going to go to Globe Trekker. Where does this E1B1B originate from? What does that say right there? What does that say right there, y'all? Can y'all see that? Iraq. That's where this sample comes from. Iraq. It arose around 4,550 BCE. Again, this is why North Africa, most of their nuclear genome is fucking Eurasian. Because why? These people are over here mixing, mating, having babies, building societies and building tribes over here. And then, they backtrack into Africa eventually. Because again, this is a highway that's very interconnected to people going back and forth, back and forth. So this is why North Africa is primarily what you will call non-African or Eurasian on the genetic level. All right, so let's get another example of this, man. We did Tunisia. Let me see. Spain. Carthage. Let's do Carthage. Let's do a sample from Carthage. Let me see if I can find a... you know what? All the Carthage samples are women. All of them are Eurasian. U6A, that's Eurasian. K1A, K1A. I dare a nigga try to make that African. H1B0, H5A, H1E. Yeah, y'all cooked on that one. Y'all cooked on that one, bro. Don't even try that shit. Let's do another Phoenician. Oh, here's one here. EV665. This is from Spain. EV65. This might be Northwest African here. Let me see. Let's type this one in. V65. We're gonna hit enter. Yeah, this is localized North African here. So boom. V65. And again, the green is his ancestry, purple is his ancestry. These people migrated from here and they make their way all throughout Europe. And ultimately, all these clades descend from EM35, which is non-African. Which explains why these populations are highly differentiated from people that live below the Sahara. When you look at the genomes of people that live below the Sahara, is very, very different than the genomes of the people living above this Sahara. This is called differentiation. Very different. Anyway, let's get another one. So here we go. Here's another one. BY8832. We're going to copy it. It's a Sicilian sample from the paper, right? Let's see, where does its origin lie? We press enter. That makes sense. It's Sardinian. Can y'all see that? Sardinian. Sardinian. So another E1B1B sample. What year? When did it? 900 BC. It arose 900 BC. It descends from this group here, 950, 1000 BC. So around the time frame of the paper. All right, so let's get another one. Let's see. We get another one here. These are all Israel. Here's one from Israel. Let's see what this one is. EV. Damn, I literally just had it. EY20282. Did we do that one yet? Let me put that one in. So again, these are the markers that are associated with the study, man. For anybody watching, like, well, what is he doing? I'm trying to show where these PUNIC samples came from. I'm purposely going to the E1B1B ones because for some reason, niggas hear E1B1B and they automatically think it has to be localized Africans. Look at this. Look at this. We talked about this early on the damn phone with some idiots. Turkey, 4800 BC. So just because you see E1B1B variants doesn't automatically mean some kind of localized African ancestry. Like, stop. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's the problem. You haven't did deep dives in this. And you're not like in order to use this tool, you're gonna have to spend $300 minimum, $250 minimum on discount because this tool is only available for Big Y people that took the Big Y test. And that's why I'm able to use it. Orthodox Moors able to. Everybody on my team can use this. You know what I'm saying? Because we all took our Big Y test, right? Let me get another example, man. Let's see. Carthage. Yeah, Carthage didn't have any Y DNA. Southern Israel, we did that one. We did that one. EV22 in Southern Israel. What's the age on this? Hold on. $900 400 BC. All right, cool. I think we did EY 670. All right, let's do another sample here. Let's do TY6030. Let's do this sample here. Yeah, check it out. So we're gonna put this in. This was also found amongst the PUNIC people, excuse me. Let's see where this haplogroup arose. TY6033. Where did there you go. Whoop, that is. And this is in what? Bulgaria. That's close enough to Greece, right? And how old is it? 6900 BCE. As you can see, it has descendants all over Greece and Italy. For everybody watching, these purple lights, the green coloration is where its descendant lineages went. Pretty much went all over Europe, made its way to Morocco over there, Arabia, into Northern Europe, into what we call Scandinavia today. So this was found in the PUNIC samples over here and North Africa. Let me see what else we got here. We got a G. Y'all already know this is gonna be. This ain't gonna fit y'all. This ain't gonna fit Professor James Small's idea of North Africa, Dr. Reggie's idea of North Africa. None of them niggas. Y'all living in a foregone era, man. That shit's over with. GZ6494. There it is. Macedonia, Greek. 3500 BCE. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. Then we're gonna call it a show. Here's another Tunisian sample. It came out as JZ234. We're gonna type this in and see where this ancestry come from, right? There it is, man. Look, clearly non-African. There it is. It arises in Arabia, 4050 BCE. And you can clearly see that its children made its way into what we call North Africa. All right. So I'm going to leave it at that, man. You Afrocentric motherfuckers is dead all 2025, bro. It's over for you niggas. I'm telling you. Stop playing. Stop playing. Yeah. I'm out, niggas. Hold on to your beliefs, and I'll be there to knock them shits out. Gang.
Hey, that shit hit different. On full down. Hey, on the guys, I know y'all been waiting on this one. It hit different. Hold on. Gang. Hey, try to run and still get shot. That shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock. That shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top. That shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch, tax the swifty to the Glock, make it spit different. Hey, bro, just beat a murder case, that shit hit different. Hey, my side bitch, another race, that shit hit different. Hey, I got a Glock, bro, got a Glock, but bitch, my shit different. Hey, I got BBs round my neck and them hoes hit different. Hey, I cut my baby mama off cause that bitch be trippin'. Hey, caught him locking at the stove, these nigga be slippin'. Hey, got 33 in my 23, Scotty Michael Pippin'. Y'all ass tweaking bitches merch, you know it hit different. It's 200 on my dash, no more whip different. I put my shooters on your ass, it's gon' hit different. No, my boys ain't come to play, they gon' kill a way. Try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch, when she found out that you rap, that shit hit different. Hey, when her sister let you clap, that shit hit different. Hey, think I'm locking, but I'm strapped, that shit hit different. Hey, I put my city on the map, that shit hit different. Hey, I'ma fuck a doggy style, cause it hit different. Hey, screaming free the problem child, bitch, it hit different. Hey, all my shorties going wild, bitch, it hit different. Hey, milk the game like a cow, bitch, it hit different. Hey, when your cousin them the ops, you know it hit different. Hey, when you really on your block, bitch, it hit different. Hey, when you really worth a check, that shit hit different. Hey, I put the block around my neck because it hit different. Hey, bitch, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch.